Have you ever heard of a goalkeeper who became a national hero, not because he played for a football giant, but because he refused to give up? Most football fans know names like Gianluigi Buffon, Manuel Neuer, or Emiliano Martinez. But hidden away on a small group of islands in the Atlantic Ocean is a goalkeeper whose story deserves far more attention. His name is Vozinha. He never played for Real Madrid. He never won the UEFA Champions League. He never became one of football's biggest celebrities. Yet for the people of Cape Verde, he is a legend, a symbol of resilience, a leader, and perhaps the greatest goalkeeper his country has ever produced. Welcome back to Football Frontier. Today, we're telling the incredible story of Vozinha, the man who carried the dreams of an entire nation and proved that greatness isn't measured by fame, but by heart. Let's begin. Cape Verde is not a country that usually dominates football headlines. With a population of just over 500,000 people, this small island nation has always lived in the shadow of African football giants like Morocco, Senegal, Nigeria, Egypt, and Cameroon. For decades, simply qualifying for major tournaments seemed impossible. Resources were limited. Facilities were modest. Few Cape Verdean players reached the biggest clubs in Europe. Most football fans barely knew the national team existed. But every underdog needs someone willing to believe before anyone else does. For Cape Verde, that person was Vozinha. Born as Josimar Diaz he grew up with the same dream shared by millions of children around the world: to play football. Unlike many famous stars, his path wasn't filled with luxury academies or global media attention. Everything had to be earned. Every opportunity had to be fought for. And every step forward required determination. Goalkeepers often receive less attention than goalscorers. They don't make the headlines after spectacular victories. But when everything is on the line, they're the last line of defense. Vozinha embraced that responsibility from the very beginning. His professional career took him through several clubs, mainly in Portugal, where he steadily developed his game. He wasn't surrounded by superstar teammates. He wasn't playing in sold-out stadiums every week. Instead, he quietly improved year after year. Building experience. Building confidence. Building the mentality that would later define his career. Then came the call every footballer dreams of: the Cape Verde national team. Representing your country is always special. But for Vozinha, it meant something even bigger. He wasn't just wearing a shirt. He was carrying the hopes of an entire nation. Every save mattered. Every match mattered. Every victory inspired thousands of young footballers back home. As the years passed, Vozinha became more than just the team's goalkeeper. He became its leader. Calm under pressure. Confident in difficult moments. Always encouraging his teammates. Great goalkeepers don't simply stop shots. They organize defenses. They inspire confidence. They give teammates belief. And that's exactly what Vozinha did. Cape Verde slowly began surprising bigger nations. Teams that once expected easy victories suddenly found themselves facing a disciplined, fearless side. Much of that confidence started from the back. Because when players trust their goalkeeper, they play with greater freedom. One of the biggest chapters of Vozinha's story came at the Africa Cup of Nations ***. For a country as small as Cape Verde, simply competing with Africa's best teams was already an achievement. But they wanted more. Match after match, Vozinha produced crucial saves. His positioning, his reflexes, his composure. Everything about his performances reflected years of hard work. He wasn't flashy. He didn't dive for cameras. He simply did his job. And he did it brilliantly. One of the moments that truly defined his career came during the **2023 Africa Cup of Nations ***. Cape Verde entered the tournament as underdogs once again. Few experts expected them to go far. But football has always loved underdog stories. The team played with incredible organization. determination, and belief. Vozinha stood at the heart of it all. Time after time, he denied dangerous attacks, making difficult saves look routine, giving his teammates the confidence to dream bigger. Cape Verde reached the quarter-finals, their best ever performance at the tournament. For millions of football fans, it was a surprise. For Cape Verde, it was history. But perhaps the most remarkable thing about Vozinha isn't any single save. It's his consistency. Year after year, tournament after tournament, he remained reliable. While younger players emerged around him, Vozinha became the experienced voice guiding the next generation. Leadership cannot always be measured with statistics. You won't find it in goals scored, or assists, or clean sheets alone. Leadership is found in the moments when a team needs someone to stay calm, someone to keep believing, someone who refuses to panic. That was Vozinha. Football often celebrates superstars, the players with millions of followers, massive sponsorships, and endless headlines. But the sport also belongs to players like Vozinha. Players who quietly dedicate their lives to representing their country with pride. Players who inspire without demanding attention. Players who remind us that football isn't only about trophies. It's about identity, passion, and representing something bigger than yourself. Today, young goalkeepers across Cape Verde grow up watching Vozinha's journey. They see someone who proved that you don't need to come from a football superpower to compete on the international stage. You simply need courage, discipline, and the willingness to keep improving. His story also reminds us why the Africa Cup of Nations is so special. Every tournament introduces the world to new heroes. Not always the biggest names, but often the biggest hearts. And Vozinha is one of those heroes. As the next generation prepares to lead Cape Verde into the future, his legacy is already secure. Not because he became one of football's richest players. Not because he played for the world's biggest clubs. But because he gave everything for his country every single time he stepped onto the pitch. For Cape Verde, that means more than any individual award ever could. Football history isn't written only by the teams that win the World Cup. Sometimes, it's written by players who inspire an entire nation to believe. And that's exactly what Vozinha has done. He transformed from an overlooked goalkeeper into a national icon. From an underdog into a legend. So the next time you watch Cape Verde play, remember one thing. Behind every great underdog story is someone who refused to let the dream die. For Cape Verde, that someone is Vozinha. And whether you're a fan of African football or simply love incredible football stories, his journey is proof that greatness can come from anywhere. So what do you think? Is Vozinha one of the most underrated goalkeepers in international football? Or do you think another African goalkeeper deserves that title? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more football documentaries, inspiring player stories, football history, and World Cup content. Thanks for watching. And we'll see you in the next video.